deeper into it, I think there are big questions that need to be answered that can only be answered when we have the full release of documents. Number one, I think the most important thing is, did she, the shooter, tell any of her healthcare professionals, her physicians, her psychologist, her psychiatrist, the people that dealt with her in the healthcare arena for some 22 years, did she ever tell them that she had this ideation, this idea that she wanted to commit a school shooting? Because if she did, right then and there, instantly, there is a requirement under the law that get reported to somebody to make sure it doesn't happen. Right? That's the most important thing. Well, if she did that and nothing happened and they didn't report, or maybe they did report and the police department didn't do anything with it, one way or the other, we don't know. But that's the real important question that needs to be asked here. And quite frankly, I also believe that this lawsuit, the being dragged out by the family, the church, and the school, and by families and the church and the school, I can't help but believe that part of that was a defensive legal strategy to keep from the filing of civil suits, because the statute of limitations on things like this is 1 year in the state of Tennessee. If somebody wanted to come back and file a lawsuit alleging that somebody didn't do their due diligence in all of this, then they would have done it within a year. By having this thing tied up for more than a year, the statute of limitations has expired. I think that a lot of what has been going on in this particular lawsuit was a defensive legal strategy to keep the documents tied up, to drag the thing out for more than a year so that statute of limitations could expire. I could be wrong, but that's one of the real things that I think could be revealed. You could interpret what we know about the case now, and I think it's a fair interpretation of one of the reasons why this thing has been tied up in court so long. I do believe the judge is trying to get rid of this thing. I think the judge wants to be done with it. Judges don't like to take on cases where they're high profile and there's no way to satisfy everyone. There's no way that they can come up with a ruling that everybody's going to be happy with. Some people are going to be happy and some people are going to be mad, and judges hate that. So we'll continue to watch it and see what goes on. That's my interpretation of what happened here today. Again, I think we had an overreaction by the judge initially, and then when they got in there, basically what she was looking for was to find out if the case was moot. She was looking for people to say, yeah, I don't know why we need to have this case now since the documents are all out. But they're not. And the case goes on. 21 minutes now past the hour. Let me talk about the folks over at Genesis Diamond. Upgrade her diamond ring this summer with no money down and 0% interest for 5 years. Don't miss this killer offer from Genesis Diamonds. 5 years and 0% interest financing. What a deal that is. And not just on engagement rings, also on earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, jewelry, pre-owned Rolexes and watches. Buy now, pay nothing down, spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. That $5,000 gift comes out to about $85 a month. That luxury pre-owned Rolex Submariner, Datejust, or Explorer starts at only, about $150 a month. This is an insane offer from the jeweler that's always finding ways to bring you more value. All GIA certified diamonds are included in this: rounds, the princess cuts, ovals, pear shapes, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Whether you get a $5,000 diamond or a $50,000 diamond, you can spread your payments out over 5 whole years. Lab-grown diamonds also included. So get the Genesis value price on anything, and you can spread your payments over 5 years. But hurry, a limited-time offer it ends on June 30th, end of this month. This is the 17th, so you got to act quickly. It will not be extended. Genesis Diamonds, 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Details and more at genesisdiamonds.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
In light of the heat wave all over the country, wildfires continuing to rage in Southern California. And we'll also hear from the Tennessee Star's editor-in-chief on the results of today's hearing in that Covenant School shooter documents case. We'll have all that at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much, Jay Harper, there in the newsroom. And as I mentioned, Chris Webber back from his vacation down the beach. Went down the beach as he did, and had a family vacation there. You look like you're having a good time there. The water nice.
Oh, it was gorgeous. Yeah, some of the prettiest conditions that I've ever had. We had 4 full days there of beach time. Did not rain a single time, and I've never had that happen before. It always rains in the summer in Florida, right? You know?
Right.
But no rain. It was just gorgeous. Hot.
Now, where exactly on the beach were you?
It was Panama City.
Panama City.
Beach.
Yep. Yes, I know. I had a place down there for about 15 years. As you know, you've stayed there before I sold it.
Yeah.
And it has been remarkably weird down there this year with all of the shark sightings and shark attacks.
Yep.
And the double red flag days and orcas and all kinds of weird stuff going on there. But I mean, to get a nice little stint there with no rain and nice weather.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite time down there is October. I think
it's really nice that time of year. It's
really nice. The humidity drops. The temperature drops a little bit. The water is just crystal clear for some reason. I don't know why, but it really is. You don't have to deal with any June grass, which, you know, did you have any June grass to deal with?
We did not. We had a little bit of the incoming, I don't know if it was the where was it from? The African seaweed or whatever it was that we had. I don't know. I saw it coming on Sunday, I think it was, and then by Monday it was starting to wash ashore a little bit. But it was very little, minimal.
And you avoided yellow fly season down there, which is,
those are terrible.
Those things are. I mean, that is ugly. I mean, it gets so bad during yellow fly season down there that, at the beach it's not bad because there's always a breeze that sort of keeps them inland.
Mm-hmm.
But over on the bay sides, oh man, I'm telling you, you go over there, you're going to get attacked.
Yeah, I've still got scars on my legs from like 4 years ago from those things.
Those nasty things,
Rough.
I'll tell you for sure. We have a little bit of an announcement here. I thought this was pretty interesting. That a federal judge today temporarily blocked the Biden administration's new Title IX rule, which extended protections for LGBTQI plus students in 6 additional states, including the state of Tennessee. So I think there's something like 9 or 10 states now where Title IX has been blocked, at least temporarily. U.S. District Judge Danny C. Reeves referred to the regulation as arbitrary in the truest sense of the word, and granting a preliminary injunction blocking it in Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. His ruling comes just days after another federal judge temporarily blocked the new rule from taking effect in Idaho, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Montana. Again, this is an example of the Biden administration overstepping its boundaries and trying to do things and add interpretations to existing law that were never intended by the legislature when they wrote the law. And so what this basically does is it says basically in Title IX will not have gender issues, and LGBTQ issues that are going to be a part of that law and the way it's interpreted. It was never that intended by that. The Congress basically was never intended for Congress that would be the case, and the Biden administration just changed their interpretation of the law. 2 courts have come down quite forcibly now, saying that it was completely out of line, and we'll see if more states continue to add on that. It'll be something to watch here. But now Tennessee, at the request of Attorney General Jonathan Scarmetti, has decided to block, while they continue to adjudicate this matter, the changes the Biden administration made to Title IX. It is now 30 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time for some news with Jay Harper.
Good afternoon. It's 3:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Partly sunny, 93 degrees. We'll have a full forecast and a traffic report coming up here shortly. A number of wildfires continue to rage in Southern California. We hear more from ABC's Jim Ryan.
North of Los Angeles, an area covering over 22 square miles is burning. At least 1,200 people have been evacuated.
I've never seen anything like it, and it was really scary.
Firefighters are in a desperate struggle to contain the blaze. Helicopters coming in with water and flame retardant. At least a dozen fires are burning across California.
The fire has burned more than 14,600 acres so far. It's only 8% contained, and conditions with all the heat and the wind out there ripe for fueling more flames. Back here in Nashville, another court hearing took place today as a part of the ongoing legal process on whether to make the Covenant School shooter's writings public. The show cause hearing came after the Tennessee Star, an online news publication, published stories on the shooter's writings. The publication said they obtained at least 80 pages of the writings from a source close to the investigation. During the hearing today, Davidson County Chancellor Aisha Miles said she was prepared to issue a more than 60-page ruling last week when she learned that some of the documents had been leaked. The Tennessee Star's editor-in-chief, Michael Patrick Leahy, who is named as possibly being in contempt of the court's order in the case, he was in attendance at today's hearing, of course, and later he also joined WTN's Matt Murphy show today and admitted he's not quite sure ultimately what the charges are against him.
She said she's going to take all of this stuff under consideration, and apparently sometime later this week, she's going to release an order whether further steps are in process. So I'm still in legal jeopardy.
Judge Miles, again, she stated that she would ultimately be issuing her ruling now that she has all of the facts in the case, according to her. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
You know, folks, the weather is getting warmer. That means grilling season is upon us. It's plenty warm, isn't it? Yeah. And if you like the flavors over at Legend Steakhouse, I sure do. How would you like to do that at your house, right on your own grill? Take a walk down your local grocery store aisles, places like Walmart and Kroger. Take a look for Johnny Fleeman's very own brand. Now, Johnny Fleeman's Marinade proprietary blend will give your steaks, chicken, and chops a flavor that will hit home run with the family and friends. It's low in sodium, about a third of other brands. You don't have to worry about over-marinating. Don't forget the honey mustard salad dressing, the South's favorite. You can use it as salad dressing or a dipping sauce for your chicken fingers or veggies or chips. It's a recipe that's been used in this restaurant for some 35 years. And if your favorite grocer isn't stocking Johnny Fleeman products, why don't you ask him to do so? Just go to johnnyfleeman.com. That's johnnyfleeman.com. And it goes without saying, for those times when you want someone else to do the cooking, they'll always be glad to see you at your nearest Legend Steakhouse for lunch or for dinner.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, californiaclosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, californiaclosets.com.
Good Monday to you. It's 38 minutes past the hour, 3 o'clock on Super Talk. Brian Wilson in the chair all the way till 7 o'clock. Hope you're doing all right today. Hope that you're, taking it easy. The temperature has now crept. It was a moment ago it was 90. Now it's 92 degrees.
That's more than creeping. That's a little jumping.
That's like a leap. I think we're probably going to hit about 94 before we get out of here today. I know.
I knew it was coming, but
And the thing about it is it's 90, 94, 92, 93, 94 degrees, but it's a moist heat.
Well, we got that going for us, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it so much better. Border stuff. The U.S. facing the highest level of potential terrorist threat because of the border policies of the Biden administration. This comes from Mike Turner, who is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, a very sober and serious-minded individual, Republican from Ohio. He says the United States is currently at its highest level for the possibility of a terrorist attack occurring on American soil. He spoke to CBS News on Sunday and talked about the reports of recent arrest of individuals with ties to the ISIS terrorist group in the United States. Now, he says, and I quote, "What's important about these reports and what we're seeing, especially in conjunction with FBI Director Christopher Wray's public statements, that we are at the highest level of a possible terrorist threat, that the administration's policies have absolutely directly related to the threats on Americans. It's their policies that are causing it." He says, no longer speculative. We have actual administration officials stepping forward, and certainly our committee and our committee members have concurred on the intelligence that we're seeing, that as a result of the administration's policies allowing people to cross the border unvetted, we have terrorists that are actively working inside the United States that are a threat to America. Wow. Now, you've heard the story about these individuals that were arrested that came from Tajikistan, and they have alleged ties to ISIS-K, arrested in New York, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the Department of State in Turkey announced they would impose sanctions on 3 individuals who have ties to ISIS and were involved in a network involved in facilitating travel to the United States. So they've shut down some elements of this thing. But my question is, how many other people are there like that? When you know that there, about 8 million, some people say as many as 11, some people say 13 million. Well, let's go with 8 million people. I mean, that's a big enough number. And so there you have it. I mean, how many people came across the border? They got the same kind of vetting that these individuals did. Didn't pick up on anything. Waved them on through. There's America. We'll catch up with you in 6 years. I mean, and then you add to that another 2 million people who have come across the border that had no vetting whatsoever. The so-called gotaways, known and unknown, that comes to about 2 million. Known gotaways are the ones that we saw them come across on cameras or picked them up on sensors or somehow knew that they crossed, but we couldn't get to them before they got across the border and just evaporated into the fabric of America. And then you have the unknown gotaways who they say you got to add about 20% to the known gotaways number because there are certain number of people get across the border they never know anything about. It's a porous border. And the coyotes are really good about knowing just where to drop these people off while the Border Patrol is tied up, maybe miles away. They're tied up with a bunch of people who want to have contact, who want to get waved in, and they want to get checked out by the Border Patrol so they could be waved on into America. Then you have a whole nother group that, a few miles away, while they're tied up, the Border Patrol's tied up down the road, they're coming across a different part of the border, and they're just untouched, completely untouched. The coyotes know how to do this stuff. They're pretty smart. But DEFCON, we're at very high DEFCON level. We are. Biden is going to give legal status to immigrant spouses of United States citizens, according to this report from the Wall Street Journal. President Biden expected to announce a new immigration program tomorrow that would provide a path to citizenship for hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants married to U.S. citizens, according to the lawmakers and others familiar with the matter. The program has the potential to benefit immigrants who've been living in the country for at least a decade, offering them work permits, deportation protections, opening up a path for them to apply for green cards that could ultimately offer them a path to citizenship. The size of the program will make it one of the largest immigration programs launched in recent decades. Wall Street Journal says that Biden was weighing such a program. The expected announcement follows Biden's long-awaited asylum ban at the southern border, which, by the way, is not doing squat. It's not doing squat. The expected announcement follows, the president's advisors have believed for months that to avoid further angering immigration advocates and Latino voters with undocumented family members, new border restrictions ought to be paired with a sort of sweetener to benefit long-time undocumented immigrants already living in the United States. How many? Don't know. Hundreds of thousands, likely. Even if an undocumented immigrant who entered the country via the southern border marries a U.S. citizen, the law says they must first leave the country for 10 years before becoming eligible for a green card. Biden's new program is underpinned by a provision of immigration law known as parole in place, which essentially allows the government to admit these immigrants legally, overriding their illegal entry. That makes it much easier to apply for a green card and cannot be undone by Donald Trump should he be elected to a second term. And while immigrants apply for permanent residency, the parole in place grants them deportation relief and access to work permits. Watch for that to happen tomorrow. And, I've said this before. Here's somebody from Just the News who's written an article quoting a bunch of congressmen who say what I've been saying for some time now, that the reason this is all doing is because the Democrats are trying to gain more voters. It's part of what the Democrats want, says Congressman Andy Biggs. The hard left that controls the Democrat Party today is okay with rigging elections, and having people come to this country is one more way to rig an election. Congressman Brian Babin of Texas said in a previous interview that the bill is important because illegal immigrants voting in elections can have a tremendous impact. Yeah, they're actually going to let non-citizens vote in Washington, D.C. Now, they can't vote for federal offices, but they can vote for municipal elections. Yeah, but, I mean, do you really think that there's going to be somebody there who stops them if they vote? Of course, it's the District of Columbia. We know what's going to happen there anyway. So anyway, they're just, again, here's a whole bunch of different congressmen saying the same thing I've been saying for some time now. This is all politically motivated because the Democrats want to change the demographics of America when it comes to election. A bit of good news at the border, and there's not much there that's good, but there is this. Border Patrol agents in Blythe, California, arrested a California man and his 17-year-old brother after a service dog alerted the agents to the presence of a large cache of semi-automatic rifles in their vehicle. In total, agents seized 25 AK-style rifles, 2 handguns, and ammunition magazines on Wednesday, and they were stopped from going to the cartel. You know, the thing about it is ICE is completely overwhelmed. Bill Malugin had some fascinating, he's been doing great work down there. He has some fascinating numbers that he received from the people at ICE about just how overwhelmed they are in trying to handle this surge of people coming across the border by the millions.
We got our hands on some brand new internal ICE data. It is jaw-dropping, and it shows just how overwhelmed the agency is right now. Before I get into it, just a little context on what it is. ICE has something called a non-detained docket. That is made up of migrants who have crossed illegally and have been released into the country with a future court date. It also includes illegal immigrants who have already been ordered deported by a judge but are still here in the country. So with that in mind, take a look at these staggering numbers right here. Federal sources telling Fox News ICE's non-detained docket has now exploded to 7.4 million cases so far in fiscal year 2024. We're told it's on track to hit 8 million by the end of this year. As you can see, these cases have more than doubled since Trump's years in office. We're told over 1 million cases have been added to this docket just since October 1st, largely due to mass catch and release here at the border. As you can imagine, ICE is buried right now. And just to put it in perspective, take a look at this second graphic right here. Sources tell us right now each ICE officer is currently managing an average of 7,000 cases each. Yes, you heard that right. 7,000 cases per ICE officer. That is obviously an impossible task given current staffing levels. ICE only has about 6,000 deportation officers nationwide right now. Not all of them work on this non-detained docket.
So you got an ICE guy out there who's managing 7,000 cases. How long will it take that one individual to get through the 7,000 cases? And that doesn't even include, the fact that it's still going on. Oh, this whole thing that they said they're going to try to shut down the border. Nothing has happened at the border. It's still blowing and going down there. They can't get it stopped. So it's right now, one officer has 7,000 outstanding cases, and there's 6,000 officers. I mean, these cases, the backlog of cases is never going to be worked through. And as long as it's not worked through, those folks are free to move about the country. They're in our backyard. They're in every city in America is now a border city because of the policies of the Biden administration. Let's call it 50 minutes now, past the hour of 3 o'clock. Well, the folks at DT McCall have a great reputation in Middle Tennessee. They've been around for more than a century. More than a century. Think about that. A family-owned business that made it more than a century. Well, they got to have something going on, right? I think one of the great things about DT McCall's is that they will deal with you honestly. They will deal with you forthrightly. They don't play games. Now, the big box stores play games. They absolutely do. They'll throw a number out to you, and you think, well, that's a great number. But then when you find out that they charge you extra for setup and delivery and haul away and all of that, then you find out that number wasn't a real number, and they jacked you up, and you end up paying a lot more than you expected to pay. At DT McCall's, you're going to get a good number, but it's an honest number. It's an honest number, and they don't charge you extra for delivery of setup or haul away of the old item. That's all included, and they're going to be up front with you, and they're going to be honest, but you're still going to get a very, very good price. 5 locations in Middle Tennessee. Whenever possible, these stores try to sell products made and manufactured right here in Middle Tennessee. So if you buy something from DT McCall, you're dealing with a Middle Tennessee company that deals with other Middle Tennessee companies. You're keeping your dollars local. Why not do that? Rather than send it off to some big box store with corporate offices in Delaware, huh? 5 convenient locations. Learn more about all the things they can do for you, the things they can put in your house. Just go to their website, ttmccalls.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Iran back to militants preying on commercial ships. Democrats preparing to introduce another bump stock ban. The Israeli prime minister disbanding his war cabinet, and we'll have audio from a portion of today's Covenant School shooting hearing over leaked documents. Those stories coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Jay Harper. Greatly appreciate that. We just want to mention that coming up in the next hour, our 2024 report, we got more stuff than I could probably push into the segment, but we'll get it all in, I promise you. In the meantime, let's take a look at the numbers and see what's going on. There was a good day on the Dow pretty much, and all the indices were green. Dow Jones Industrials up 188, S&P up 41, NASDAQ up 168. Now, they're the flux of immigrants, both legal and illegal, having a very interesting impact on our economy. Ty Draper from Beacon Capital Management is standing by with more on that. Good afternoon, Ty.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, immigration, both illegal and legal, has helped the domestic job market stay increasingly hot in the first half of the year. This surge has helped fill the void left from the 2022 meltdown and helped provide more supply to the increase in labor demand. This tight labor market has led to the longest stretch of unemployment in over 50 years. Now, some have argued that this immigration surge has allowed the Fed to hold interest rates steady instead of raising them, which caused the stock market to rise. But with illegal immigration as a top concern for voters heading into the election, it's really unclear whether one positive effect will unravel all the negative effects at our country's border.
All right, thank you very much, Ty. Listen, to find out more about what the folks over at Beacon Capital Management can do for you to make sure that you are ready for retirement, why don't you just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. 59 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. You know, as much as we'd like it to be the case, there are no pills or spinal creams that can magically open up your spinal disc and take pressure off your nerves. That's what causes back pain. Let's get down to the basics here. And if you want to solve the problem, really, there are just a couple of choices. One involves surgery. The other is non-invasive spinal decompression. Now, I chose non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and man, am I glad that I did. I had problems with my neck. I had problems with my lower back, and they actually were able to knock out both of those problems there with this non-spinal decompression. State-of-the-art facilities, the latest high-tech equipment. I mean, they've really got the latest and the greatest stuff. And getting better is important, so Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are offering half off the spinal decompression treatment and half off their revolutionary KT knee machine, which is like spinal decompression for the knee. It gently elongates the knee and allows the healing treatment to get deep within the joint. You're going to really love that. And listen, if you're a new patient, you get an exam, consultation, and first treatment for only $23. What is stopping you? I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Call them today at 615-246-5009. Learn more at paintisbad.com.
Good afternoon. 2 minutes past 4 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Partly sunny, 92 degrees. We'll get the forecast and the latest traffic report to you here shortly. The White House responding today to renewed attacks on commercial ships by Iran-backed Houthi militants in Yemen. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby noting 2 recent attacks by Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen on commercial ships in the Red Sea.
The Houthis killed an innocent crew member from the Philippines and critically wounded a Sri Lankan sailor who were guilty of no crimes, who were simply doing their jobs.
Kirby went on to reiterate neither ship had any connection to the conflict in Gaza, which the Houthis claim is their justification for the attacks. Kirby announced the U.S. is sanctioning individuals and entities involved in helping the Houthis get weapons. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
Senate Democrats set to advance legislation to ban bump stocks. The vote could come as soon as tomorrow, and it follows the Supreme Court ruling last week striking down a Trump-era ban. Here's Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on the Senate floor earlier today.
Friday's ruling is yet another warning that this MAGA court is going off the deep end, aligning itself more and more with the most extreme elements of the hard right.
Turning now to the Middle East. Israel says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has disbanded his war cabinet, once a symbol of unity, set up after the Hamas terror attacks back on October 7. Former political opponent Benny Gantz leaving the panel last week, accusing Netanyahu of not having a post-war plan in Gaza. ABC's Mick Mulroy on the end of the war cabinet.
Big deal politically. Gantz is likely the future political rival of Netanyahu. But as far as the war goes, it's likely going to continue on the same course. Prime Minister Netanyahu in the lead.
Back here in Nashville, the battle over leaked pages of the Covenant School Shooters Journal back in court today. Judge Aisha Miles, she asked the Tennessee Star, an online publication, to appear after disturbing excerpts from the shooter's diary. Stories about the diary were published. The judge wants the publication to show it did not violate an order of the court. The focus of today's hearing ended up being on whether the judge will still issue her initial ruling or if the leak of the documents would make the case moot. During today's hearing, Tennessee Star attorney Daniel Horowitz, he asked Judge Miles to at least take the contempt possibility off the table.
What I need to confirm before I close today is what cause my client has been ordered to show. It sounds like the evolution of this proceedings is none, that he has no obligations today, doesn't have to prove anything. If that's the case, I'd ask you to close down the contempt proceeding or the threatened sanctions.
Well, there is not, as I said before, Mr. Horowitz, and then I will ask you to sit down. In my subsequent order, there is not a contempt proceeding today. If you had read in
I recognize there's not a contempt proceeding, Your Honor, but there's still a show cause proceeding, and I don't know what cause you were asking me to show.
Judge Miles also indicating she was ready to issue her ruling on the shooter documents case last week, but then she was informed that perhaps some other circumstances in the case had presented themselves, and that may, in fact, influence her ruling. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather, they are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good afternoon, everybody. 9 minutes now past the hour, 4 o'clock on Super Talk. I'm Brian Wilson. Hey, how you doing out there? 90 degrees. We came down. I think our high was about either 92 or 93 degrees. But I'm telling you, don't worry. It's a moist heat.
Lovely.
Makes it so much better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Remind me again, when is the first day of summer? It's coming up here any day now.
You might as well be today. I think it's, Wednesday?
June 20th.
20th, so we got 3 more days.
So Thursday.
Thursday is the longest day of the year. And it'll be a long, hot one.
Yeah, 98 or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Thanks, summer.
That's right. Well, you might as well already be here. You're right, because it's just flat hot out there. Take it easy out there. Get home safely, all right? I think it's time for our 2024 update. We got a lot of stuff to cover here today. I'll start with a couple of interesting numbers, and I have another number that I think is going to really get your attention. This is not a big surprise. Iowa. Trump is leading in Iowa by 18 points over Biden. It's Trump 50, Biden 32, Kennedy 8, and a smattering of others. But here's an interesting one. It's a McLaughlin poll. This is a Republican poll. 600 likely voters in the state of Minnesota, which is a battleground state. And in the 5-way matchup, they have Trump at +4. In the 6-way matchup, they have Trump +5. In the 2-way matchup, it's a little tighter, Trump +2. But that's a must-win state, and I think it'll depend on how many people end up on the ballot there as compared to exactly how well Trump does in Minnesota. But, I mean, if he wins that one, I think it's over. If he wins either Minnesota or Michigan or Pennsylvania, or I'm going to add to the list because I think everybody's missing it, Virginia, I think it's over. He will have more than enough. And The Economist has done an analysis. They do forecasts. They don't do polls. They look at the polls. They look at a bunch of electoral college stuff and find out where things are. And then they do a forecast of what they think is likely to happen. And basically, they say that Donald Trump has a 75% chance of winning this coming election, and that Joe Biden has about a 25% chance, about 1 in 4 chance. And they do a whole lot of different stuff, but let's look at their battleground polls. They have Trump up by 2 in Michigan, up by 3 in Wisconsin, up by 3 in Pennsylvania, up by 3 in Nevada, up by 4 in Arizona, up by 4 in Georgia. So across the board, they say when you calculate all this stuff up, and they're very sophisticated projections. There are algorithms involved in this. I don't know what an algorithm is because I can't basically do basic math, but I know that they use a sophisticated algorithm to make this forecast, and they say that Trump has a 75% chance of becoming the next president. Joe Biden, about a 25% chance. Very interesting analysis there by The Economist. I mean, you'd think that if anybody could crunch numbers, it'd be a publication called The Economist, right? Well, we would hope anyway. Biden is going to use oil reserves again. Here we go, ladies. I don't know how we're going to do this. This is a bad move. President Joe Biden prepared to release more oil from the country's strategic reserves if gas prices increase during the summer. They've already released stockpiles of gasoline, not oil, but gasoline that's up in the Northeast, and it kept prices down and helped the prices. Even when they do this, they're putting our national security at risk because that's not why we're supposed to have that there. We're supposed to have it in case there's an attack on the homeland or there's some kind of, major thing that happens. We need more oil. We've got some stuck back. We got some gasoline stuck back. But it does two things when he does this. It keeps gas prices low. And it also, when gas prices are low, that is one of the great markers that causes inflation to go up. So if you keep gas prices low, you're keeping inflation low. You keep inflation low, you're setting up a situation where the people at the Federal Reserve can cut interest rates, which is something that they would very much like to see before the election. Right now, it looks like they're talking about one rate cut after the election. So there's a myriad of reasons why they want to do it. None of them override the concern that I have, which is that these special strategic oil reserves and gas reserves are supposed to be there in case there is a national emergency. Now they've already drawn down about half of it from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, as big salt domes down in I think Texas and in the deep South, Louisiana, I think. They got these gigantic, they got them filled to the brim at one point with oil, and that was there in case we needed to pull it out, refine it, and because we have a lack of oil coming into this country for one reason or another. But now, it's already down halfway, and they're gonna keep draining it. What a mess that is. Bad idea. Trump is courting black voters in Detroit this weekend, and with good reason. He's really making tremendous inroads with black voters in America. This was the topic of a chalk talk with like a Harry Enton over at CNN. He's astonished at what he's seeing, and he's correct. We've never seen this in some 6 decades.
So where does the race stand among African-American voters right now?
Yeah, I keep looking for this to change, to go back to a historical norm, and it simply put has not yet. In 2020, Joe Biden was getting 86% of the African-American vote. Look at where it is now. It's 70%. That's a 16-point drop, John. And more than that, it's not just that Joe Biden is losing ground, it's that Donald Trump is gaining ground. You go from 7%, single digits at this point in 2020, to now 21%. And again, John, I keep looking for signs that this is going to go back to normal, and I don't see it yet in the polling. If anything, right now we're careening towards a historic performance for a Republican presidential candidate, the likes of which we have not seen in 6 decades. So I decided to dive deeper into the crosstabs, figure out where is it that Joe Biden is truly struggling among black voters. Look at black voters under the age of 50. Holy cow, folks. Holy cow. Look at this. Joe Biden was up by 80 points among this group back at this point in 2020. Look at where that margin has careened down towards. It's now just, get this, 37 points. That lead has dropped by more than half, Mr. Berman. I just never seen anything like this. I'm like speechless. If this polling is anywhere near correct, we are looking at a historic moment right now where black voters under the age of 50, which have historically been such a big part of the Democratic coalition, are leaving it in droves.
That is a huge drop.
It is a huge drop, and it's a big deal. And this weekend, folks who are spokespeople for the Biden campaign, this is Mike Tyler, were asked some questions, pretty sharp questions about that.
Why is he losing support right now?
Well, listen.
Over the weekend, the Trump campaign launched a Black Americans for Trump coalition. Your campaign mocked it and said it's not fooling anyone. But look at this. USA Today Suffolk polls show from Michigan and Pennsylvania specifically, these are 2 key swing states. They show President Biden has lost roughly 20 points among black voters in both of those states, down from 76% to the mid-50s. Of course, in a close election, that can make a huge difference. Why do you think the president is losing support with these voters?
Well, listen, this campaign is going to do very good amongst black voters because no administration has done more for black America than the Biden-Harris administration.
But why is he losing support right now?
Well, listen, this is what the campaign is for. We have to remind people of exactly where we have come from and where we are going. That's why we're running ads consistently. That's why we're reminding people of the things that this administration has done for black America.
Well, he doesn't deny that there's a problem. You know, that we're going to change it by the time we get to Election Day. We're running a bunch of ads. It seems to be what he's suggesting there. That'll solve everything. Don't worry. We're just going to run some ads. No, young black voters are disenchanted with the guy, and they are looking and they remember, Donald Trump did pretty well by them. When black unemployment was really low back in the Trump years. And so they remember how good they had it, and they also, I think, look at him and I think they recognize in Donald Trump someone who is being persecuted by the legal system, and that may resonate with them for one reason or another. So I don't know what it is, but I mean it is there, it is real. Harry Enton said it right when he said, you know what? We haven't seen anything like this in some 6 decades. 6 decades since we've seen any numbers like that where blacks were supporting Republican candidates. So something is happening out there. Former Democrat mayor of Detroit has endorsed Donald Trump, saying, "I can never thank him enough for what he's done for me." This is Kwame Kilpatrick, the former Detroit Democrat mayor, former Obama supporter, broke ranks on Sunday and endorsed President Donald Trump. You may remember Kilpatrick was sentenced to 28 years in prison for public corruption, the longest sentence ever handed down for a public official. Former President Barack Obama previously endorsed Kilpatrick and was even mentioned as a possible candidate for president. Kilpatrick was dubbed Detroit's hip-hop mayor during his time in office. However, Trump commuted Kwame Kilpatrick's prison sentence before he left office in January of 21, and he is eternally grateful, and he has endorsed Donald Trump. And that will be noted in the black community. It truly will. We have much more. I mean, I got so much election 24 news that I can't squeeze it all into one segment. So in a moment, final rules have been laid out for that debate that is on the 27th, 10 days from now, between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. If it goes forward, I'm beginning to wonder if it will or not. But one way or the other, they got the rules, and I'll talk about that after we take this commercial break. 20 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. Folks at Beacon Capital Management have a question for you. Are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? You got to think about this before you retire. Many hardworking Americans, just like you, could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. It could actually happen, no doubt about it. You need to be careful about that. You can pay taxes on your IRA, your 401k, any other tax-deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind on that. With the threat of massive tax increases around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no obligation, no pressure. If you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement, don't wait any longer to schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call this number, 615-488-9303. That's 615-488-9303, or visit askbeaconnow.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
President Biden at the White House today, meeting with the NATO Secretary General. We'll have that story. Also, a beloved Tennessee public television host has passed away. And we'll have today's closing money news. That's coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
25 past the hour. We're doing our 2024 update, and quite frankly, the situation is, I got so much information I can barely get it all in. CNN has laid out the final rules for Trump versus Biden debate on the 27th of June. It will go for 90 minutes. The candidates will not be allowed to bring props or prepared notes. They can have a pad and pen. And again, it's Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. And during the commercial breaks, the candidates can consult with their campaigns, and they will be provided with a pen, a notepad, a bottle of water, and will not be allowed, as I said, to bring props or prepared notes. Look, I think Trump will do very well here if he keeps his cool and just stays matter of fact and just looks like a reasonable individual. And then you have Joe Biden, who I think will be jacked up if the performance we saw at the State of the Union is any example. He'll arrive angry and wired. But here's the thing. It's, when he's at the State of the Union, he's reading a teleprompter. And even then there are mistakes. Do you think the guy can actually go 90 minutes without making huge mistakes? I don't think he can. I mean, they're taking like a week off to go to Camp David and prep him for this. And I don't know if it'll be enough. So whatever cocktail of drugs they give him to get him up and standing on his feet for 90 minutes, I think, we'll see, I think you'll see somebody like we saw at the State of the Union. But I don't know. I think Trump will probably win that one hands down. Biden warns that the next president could appoint 2 Supreme Court justices at a glitzy L.A. fundraiser. Okay, let's just talk about that for a moment. I would say toward the end of the month, the Supreme Court will finish this term. And I would imagine that about that time, probably Sonia Sotomayor is going to announce her resignation. I just sort of feel like she'll be the one. If she does, then it means that Democrats will have an opportunity to replace her before the end of the year. They'll ram it through the Senate because it's controlled by Democrats. The other person out there that everybody talks about is Clarence Thomas, because he's getting up there in years. Clarence Thomas. So that, by the way, whoever she's replaced with, and I think it might be Kamala Harris, my personal guess, that solves a lot of problems for them. But one way or the other, whoever they nominate, it won't change the balance of the court. It'll still be 6-3. Now, the question is what happens with Clarence Thomas if the Democrats win and he decides I can't go on another 4 years and I need to resign, then they might be able to pick up a seat, and it would be instead of a 6-3 court, it'd be 5-4 again. But one way or the other, he's right. One scenario, though, doesn't change the mix of the court. The other scenario potentially could, but again, I'm not expecting that he's going to win. So they did that at a big gala LA fundraiser. They made picked up about $30 million and change at that event, and all of the glitterati were there. Obama was there on stage with him, and at the end of the thing, I don't know. Have you seen? I know you've seen it. If you watch TV at all, you've seen it. There's another moment where we get the 1,000-yard stare, and he just sort of locks up and just stares and sort of grins weirdly. I mean, it's just a weird grin on his face. And very, very gently, but obviously, Obama reaches over and grabs his arm and then pulls him in the direction of leaving the stage, and then basically keeps his arm on his shoulder all the way off stage, as if he was just ushering the man off stage so he wouldn't wander off. He looked so incredibly weak. And there's no way that you can, he was locked up. He was like that thing at the G7, just staring wandering, and they didn't want him to wander off like he did at the G7. They didn't want him to have that 1,000-yard stare as they had at the event where they were celebrating Juneteenth, and he just did you see that? Just weird, just standing there. Everybody else is moving, and he doesn't move. He just stands there frozen, solid, with this goofy look on his face, like, I don't know what's going on here. I better just smile, because people are watching, and he has that forced smile. They didn't want that moment, so Obama grabbed him by the hand and led him off like a little child. It's exactly what it looked like. It was so deeply embarrassing. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the leader of the free world at the moment. 30 minutes now past the hour. Time for news with Jay Harper.
Good afternoon. It is 4:31, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Mostly sunny, 91 degrees on Music Row. We'll get the forecast and the traffic report to you here momentarily. President Biden today welcoming NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg to the White House as Washington, D.C. prepares to host allies for the annual summit next month. Here is Stoltenberg during an Oval Office appearance with the president.
Allies are buying more and more equipment from the U.S., so NATO is good for U.S. security, but NATO is also good for U.S. jobs.
Back here in Tennessee, Joe Elmore, the host of Tennessee Crossroads on public television, he passed away this morning following a long illness. Mr. Elmore was the host of Tennessee Crossroads for 37 years since the program started back in 1987. Now let's get to today's closing money news with Dave Packer.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now. Stocks rose to more record highs at the start of a holiday-shortened week. Markets will be closed Wednesday for the Juneteenth holiday. The Dow Jones Industrial rose 189 points. The Nasdaq Composite was 168 points higher, its sixth consecutive record close. The broader S&P gained 42, its 30th record close this year. The IRS is putting the squeeze on the top 1% of taxpayers. The tax agency plans to end major tax loopholes that could raise more than $50 billion in a decade. Deputy Treasury Secretary Wally Adeyemo said today that the process by which a business or person can enter into a series of transactions to avoid taxes was just a shell game. The struggling video game retailer GameStop stock is down after the company's CEO today told a shareholder meeting that costs need to be cut to provide long-term profitability. The University of Utah Drug Information Service says drug shortages are on the rise.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather, they're next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
You know, if you're in the market for a pole barn, the two brothers that run Stoltzko are guys you need to talk to. Known for exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices, they can build your new pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind, and that is the Stoltz Co. difference. You can use pole barns for all kinds of things. It can function as a classic tool and work barn, a garage, or even a place to live. Flexibility is key. They combine the classic post-frame barn look with the reliability of modern materials and techniques to give you a finished barn that will stand the test of time. They don't scrimp on quality. They don't cut corners. They believe their customers deserve only the best. So listen, why don't you just do me a favor? Go to their website, look it up, stoltzco.com. That's STOLTZCO, stoltzco.com. Take a look at the things they've done for other people, and then, well, you're just going to get it. You're going to say, yeah, now I understand. And then you're going to want to call 615-622-5992. Stoltz Co., it's where quality workmanship and great customer service is affordable. Here's the number, 615-622-5992. Learn more at stoltzco.com. That's stoltzco.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It's 38 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm a worrywart. I'll be the first to tell you about that. I worry about things sometimes. And I'm very worried right now with what I see happening on the world stage. Now, a lot of people, when you start to talk about things going on beyond the borders of this country, they sort of, their eyes glaze over and they don't want to pay attention. Foreign relations and foreign issues are never something that people follow with great interest, but you should. And let me tell you why. There are people in this world who do not have the United States' best interest at heart. And right now it bothers me because they all seem to be working in concert. Let's just talk about a few things that have happened of late. This is from this weekend. China circles Taiwan with 23 warplanes and 7 warships. Here we go. Recent developments, according to thewarriormaven.com. Recent developments in the Taiwan Strait have drawn significant attention from global military analysts. The Ministry of National Defense in Taiwan has reported the movement of 23 Chinese military aircraft and 7 naval vessels in the vicinity of the island nation. This activity was observed between 6 a.m. on June 12th and 6 a.m. on June 13th. Notably, 19 of these aircraft crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait and entered Taiwan's eastern and southwestern air defense identification zones. This incident is part of a broader pattern of increasing Chinese military maneuvers around Taiwan, prompting a detailed technical analysis of the strategic implications and potential outcomes. Now, what happens in a situation like this? We have a responsibility to Taiwan. By the way, we have a great number of naval assets in that region. So when the Chinese are messing around with Taiwan, we get involved and we're tied up. All right, we're tied up. At the very same time that this is going on in the South China Sea, we've been watching the movement of Russian naval assets just off the coast of Florida. You know, you could almost throw a rock out there and hit a submarine. That's how close they were. Now they were on their way to Cuba. Okay, they were just going to Cuba and they happened to get very close to Florida. But you know what? We have to respond to that. We have to send naval assets out there. We have to be ready in case it's not just an innocent cruise by the peninsula of Florida on down to Cuba. By the way, very, very unusual for a nuclear submarine to get that close. Very unusual. That means if they were to launch their missiles, they could hit American soil in a matter of minutes. I mean, literally 5, 6, 7 minutes. So, I mean, we have to pay attention to it. We don't expect that they're going to do anything, but you never know what they're up to. So you got to go out there and you got to meet them. Okay. So the Chinese got us tied up in the South one. We have the Russians down in Florida, and then you know why you have meetings like right now, for example, Putin is in North Korea. He's having a conversation with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. You know why they go to have face-to-face meetings? Because it's very difficult for our intelligence agencies to figure out what was said in a face-to-face meeting. If they do it on a phone call, if they do it on a conference call, if they do it on a Zoom call, even if they try to encrypt it, we're pretty good at figuring out that stuff. So when you go face-to-face and it's just a couple of people in the room, whatever is said, unless somebody comes out and starts yapping, it stays in that room. I don't know what that meeting's about. Nobody seems to know what. Oh, they'll do some dog and pony picture stuff, but I mean, it really, what is he there for? Why is it that Putin and Xi from China are meeting so regularly? Again, it's impossible for us to know exactly what is said in these conference rooms when it's just those two leaders together. I don't know, it makes me nervous. It makes me real nervous that, and then you add to that, I'll tell you something else that concerns me, and I know I sound like a broken record, and I'm sorry. I can't help but think about these things. What about all the Chinese people who have come into this country illegally and have just vanished into the fabric of America? What about that? And it's an election year for us. Don't you imagine that if you wanted to pull off something and you wanted to go big with something like invading Taiwan or whatever it is that the Russians are up to right now, that you would do it in an election year when everybody's distracted, right? Nobody wants to start a war. But if they do something, I think there are enough people inside this country that have come across the southern border, burrowed in here, burrowed in there, Chinese nationals, Russian nationals, Tajikistanians. I mean, who knows all the different people that are out there. So if something happens, not only will you have a problem of having to defend whatever the Russians are doing over on the Atlantic side, whatever the Chinese are doing over in the Pacific side, you'll have to worry about what kind of terrorism is going on inside the country to keep us distracted and unable to respond. I hate to be a worrywart, but I mean, boy, if I were the person responsible for the national security of this country, I'd be sweating bullets. I wouldn't be sleeping at all with all the stuff that's going on right now. I just say that, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I don't think so. I don't think that all of these movements around the world by people who don't have our best interests at stake and all of these meetings that are happening, I don't think it's all just innocent. I don't think it's coincidental. I think that there's something going on, and that they want to catch us with a weak leader at a weak moment and then cause all kinds of chaos inside the country while they're creating chaos outside the country. I hope I'm wrong. Meanwhile, in Israel, there's a whole other thing going on now. Is there going to be a war between Israel and Hezbollah? Are they going to have to go after Hezbollah like they went after Hamas? Hezbollah is the crown jewel, some write, of Iran's terror empire. Iran sponsors what's going on with Hamas, and they sponsor whatever happens with Hezbollah. And now it looks like Israeli officials are warning that the country is on the brink of a full-scale war with Hezbollah if the terrorist group continues to increase its aggression in northern Israel. Another thing we would have to respond to, right? I mean, does it not bother you that all of these tension spots around the world are just blinking red right now? Israel, the Mideast, Cuba, North Korea, the Chinese. I mean, there's so much going on. That as I look at this, it makes me very nervous. What is going on, and what is the timing on all this? What do they hope to accomplish? And remember, in foreign relations abhors a vacuum, and the United States has a vacuum of leadership right now. They look at this guy, they look at Joe Biden, and they say he's not up to it. Between now and the election, if I wanted to do big things, if I were, the Chinese, the North Koreans, the Iranians, if I was the Russians, and I wanted to make some kind of big move, I would do it while Joe Biden is still the president. They see the same thing that we see when we see him on the stage. They're worried. We should be worried. They're looking at him. They're going, we could take this guy. He's not up to the task of being the leader of the free world right now. And then I see stories like this, and it just adds to it. This is from thehill.com. The heads of Americans' intelligence and law enforcement agencies have not been shy in warning that the red lights are flashing about the likelihood of a terrorist attack in America. With the war in Gaza raging, thousands of immigrants pouring across America's southern borders every day, and ISIS-K reconstituting, certainly the picture is extremely worrying. Common sense suggests that among the 8 or 9 million newcomers having entered America over the past few years, at least a handful are out to cause harm, and many will have committed crimes, including murder. Why do you think they're testing the Marine base at Quantico? Why do you think they're testing other military, and we've had them try this, where they do the dry runs in Taiwan, dry runs of terrorist activity in this country. The Russians testing our response as they cruise by with nuclear submarines just off the coast of Florida. What's going on with Cuba? What are they doing down there? It's unusual what we're seeing around the world. We're being tested. They're trying to find out what our response would be if certain things happen. I don't like the way this looks. It makes me extremely nervous. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I am wrong. I think when you look at the big picture here and you step back and you read all of the stuff that's going on around the world, if you're not concerned, then you're not paying attention. I think at the Pentagon right now, they're concerned. I think that the domestic anti-terrorism organizations of this country are concerned, very concerned. All the signs are that they're on high alert. And it's all because of the unbelievable policies of the Biden administration has gotten us in. They screwed it up starting with Afghanistan, And they looked weak there. They've looked weak every time they've had to respond around the world. They are not standing by Israel the way they should, and everybody notices that as well. And they notice that we have a weak president and a particular vulnerable time in America where we are in the process now of trying to find out who's going to be the next leader of the free world. I mean, all I know is if I wanted to take advantage of a weak America, I would do it just before the elections. Because I think it's like when Reagan came into office after Jimmy Carter. If they get Trump, they know that there's going to be a different kind of animal, a more unpredictable and a stronger animal to deal with the United States. So I think that they're ready to take advantage of this unique moment where we are so weak and so many things are going on that we would have to respond to. Be afraid, my friends, and keep an eye on world events. It is now 50 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. Man, you wish it were true, but it's not true. There are no pills or spinal creams that can magically open up your spinal disc and take the pressure off your nerves. You have two choices, surgery or non-invasive spinal decompression. I chose non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and it worked for me. I had problems with my neck, had lower back problems, and it really knocked it out. I'm feeling so much better. Their state-of-the-art facilities and their high-tech equipment offer the latest non-surgical procedures. Because getting better is important, Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are offering half off spinal decompression treatments and half off the KT knee machine, which is a revolutionary new thing it sort of acts like spinal decompression for the knee. If you're a new patient, imagine this, an exam, a consultation, x-rays if you need it, whatever. Get your first treatment, only $23. I mean, you've got that on you. I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Call them today, 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
At the top of the hour, we'll have more audio from a portion of today's Covenant School shooting hearing over those leaked documents. The Israeli prime minister with an interesting political move and a scary scene at the home of a country music star. We'll have those stories at 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay Harper in the newsroom, and there's Chris Weber in the control room. After you do the news and tell us what the news is out of that Covenant hearing, I'll give you my take on it. Is all coming up after the news with Jay Harper, 58 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock.
Good afternoon. It's 5 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got sunshine here on Music Row, 94 degrees now, but radar is showing some pop-up showers, some of them fairly heavy between Nashville and Dixon. We'll get a full forecast and the latest traffic report here in just a few minutes. The dispute over leaked pages of the Covenant School Shooters Journal was that whole issue back in court today. Judge Aisha Miles, she asked the Tennessee Star, an online publication, to appear after disturbing excerpts from the shooter's diary, or at least stories about that diary, were published. The judge wants the publication to show it didn't violate an order of the court. The focus of today's hearing, however, ended up being on whether the judge will still issue her initial ruling or if the leak of the documents would make the case moot. During today's hearing, Tennessee Star attorney Daniel Horowitz, he asked Judge Miles to take the contempt citation off the table. However, Judge Miles was quick to point out that today's proceedings were not about specifically addressing that issue.
Right now, I have heard from the parties the information that I need to know. If there is a subsequent show cause proceeding, I will ensure that it is delineated in a very clear and crisp manner so that your client can prepare with you, his counsel.
The judge also indicated she was ready to issue her ruling on the shooter documents case last week. But then after she learned about some of the other circumstances in the case, she decided that she would hold off until this hearing. Back in the Middle East, Israel saying Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has disbanded his war cabinet, which was set up after the Hamas terror attacks back on October 7th. Former political opponent Benny Gantz leaving the panel last week, accusing Netanyahu of not really having a post-war plan in Gaza. Here is White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby when he was asked about all of this today.
We said at the time that we believed it was a worthwhile step, and we still hold by that. But with Mr. Gantz's decision to leave, I'm not sure that Prime Minister Netanyahu was left with a whole lot of other choices.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, firefighters were called to the home of country music star Carrie Underwood. Her property near Leapers Fork. They were called out there last night to put out a fire. Turns out the flames, thankfully, were just contained to a garage. The flames did not reach the primary residence. Officials think the fire may have been sparked by a utility vehicle that was parked nearby. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather, they're next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It is 7 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and this is The Drive for Monday, June 17th. We are We're bringing you news and information that you need as you drive home in this sweltering heat. It got up to about 92, 93 degrees today, and it's plenty warm. But we're glad that you're headed home now, and when you get there, you'll jump out of your car, you'll run in your house and say, "Guess what I just learned?" By listening to this program. What kind of things might they have learned in this program in the last hour? I don't know. Got to be something.
That we've got some trouble.
Yeah.
It's just as a blanket statement. Kind of covers a lot of territory there.
Trouble right here in River City. That's right. Man, it starts with B. I'll work on that. There was a big hearing today about Covenant and the school leaks, the records or leaks that have been out there. Tennessee Star on this program, Daily Wire, they're all over the place, about some of the documents from that investigation. Now, as you know, there's a big court case where you got some people on one side saying we need to release a bunch of these documents, and you got the families of some of the victims. You have the school and the church saying no. We want those maintained. We don't want them released. And Judge Maisha Isles is apparently Aisha Miles is trying to decide how that all be handled, and she was completely unaware last week of these leaks that we had on our program, and that the Tennessee Star, I think they ran about 25 stories based on leaks from some of the documents that the police department had with regard to their investigation. We had a pretty interesting document. We did a lot of reporting on it as well. And when some kind of legal beagle over at Channel 4 called the judge up and said, "Do you know about all these leaks? Certainly somebody should be held in contempt of court, don't you think, Judge?" And I think the judge got really riled up and maybe then overreacted a bit, because she ordered a hearing today, what they call a show cause hearing, and it looked like Michael Leahy, because he's a litigant in the case with the Tennessee Star, it looked like he might at one point be headed to jail for contempt of court, for releasing information that he got from sources close to the investigation. But, I don't know. I guess the judge had bad information. I think the guy from Channel 4 that got the judge all riled up told her some things that weren't true. For example, I think the judge believed that the Tennessee Star had published some of the journals, and they did not. Now, they take information from, they got about, I don't know, they say 80 pages of journals. This is from the journal that was found in the car on the day of the shooting, and they reported some of the stuff from it, but did they actually publish it? No. Some people did. I had 2 pages of the journal, and I reported on what was in it, but I didn't release it. Most of my reporting was done based on police documents, which is not a part of this case at all. The Daily Wire published a lot of it. I mean, they just took page after page after page and they put it out there, and just put a bunch of stuff out there in the public domain. But the Tennessee Star did not. And the only reason they're being called on the carpet is because they're involved in the lawsuit. The judge initially thought that they had violated their order. But I think the judge got out over her skis. I think she overreacted. And today, I think the Tennessee Star has it right, which is in itself an astonishing thing. Judge backs off sanctions threat, gets lay of land after Covenant school records leak. Not many questions answered in Chancellor Aisha Miles' courtroom Monday morning after a week filled with controversy in the Covenant school shooting records lawsuit. Miles told the attorneys in the Pack Gallery Monday morning that she was prepared to release a 60-page ruling on which records could be released last week, but she stopped herself once she got word that conservative news outlet and party to the case, the Tennessee Star, had published articles with leaked documents. Miles initially called Monday's hearing threatening contempt proceedings and sanctions against the Star and its editor-in-chief, Michael Patrick Leahy, for the publication of the materials. Free speech advocates argued such sanctions would have been unconstitutional. But none of that was discussed today. What ended up happening was unusual. Miles limited the hearing to getting the lay of the land of the records after the leak, asking the lawyers for all three sides, Metro, Covenant, and the record requesters, if they felt the case was still live and relevant, and they all said that it was. Deborah Fisher, executive director for the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government, said she had never been to a hearing like today's. This was much ado about nothing, in my view. Russell Nobile, a lawyer for the conservative activist group Judicial Watch, who is involved in this particular case, says everyone came in a little hot, and I think it's cooling off some. Daniel Horowitz, a First Amendment and criminal defense lawyer brought on to represent Leahy and the Star following Miles' order threatening contempt actions, we're glad to see that Leahy was not being prosecuted. I don't want reporters going to jail for lawful reporting. See, I think the judge really, really overreacted. And now, you know, she looked for a way to try to get through this whole thing. Here is Michael Patrick Leahy appearing on Matt Murphy's show before this program earlier this afternoon.
I don't know what the charges against me would be. She said she's going to take all of this stuff under consideration, and apparently sometime later this week, she's going to release an order whether further steps are in process. So I'm still in legal jeopardy. She could appoint a special prosecutor to go after me, even though I did nothing wrong, A, and B, everyone in court said Leahy did nothing wrong. So there you go. I think basically, we'll see. A lot of people tell me, well, she's just looking for a way out. But, you know, I'm the one in legal jeopardy.
Well, I mean, he is. I think the judge thought better of the idea. And no judge wants to be the judge that throws a reporter in jail. That's not going to work out long term. It rarely does long term for the judge. And I think the judge has gotten to the point where, you know, she's kind of come up with the opinion that, man, I tell you, this is a horrible case. This is a case where I can't make everybody happy, and there's going to be somebody mad at me. A big contingent of people are going to be mad at me either way. So the judge is looking for a way to offload this case. That's why she was asking, is the case now moot? There's been all these leaks. Do we even need to have any kind of ruling from this court? And everybody went around the room. They said, yep, we still need it. That's everything that's been released so far is only about 1/20th of what is out there. Daniel Horowitz, the judge for Michael Patrick Leahy during the hearing, was trying to find out, well, why in the hell am I here? I thought this was a show cause hearing.
It sounds like the evolution of this proceedings is none, that he has no obligations today, doesn't have to prove anything. If that's the case, I'd ask you to close down the contempt proceeding or the threatened sanctions.
Well, there is not, as I said before, Mr. Horowitz, and then I will ask you to sit down. In my subsequent order, there is not a contempt proceeding today. If you had read in
I recognize there's not a contempt proceeding, Your Honor, but there's still a show cause proceeding, and I don't know what cause you were asking me to show.
Yeah, it's a show cause. I came here to show. You said you wanted a show cause hearing. What cause am I showing? What do you want to know? And she just didn't have an answer because she changed her mind about what the hearing was going to be after she issued that hot ruling. But she says, look, if Michael Patrick Leahy, if we're going to investigate him for contempt, it'll be a separate case, and I'll give everybody time to get ready for that.
Right now, I have heard from the parties the information that I need to know. If there is a subsequent show cause proceeding, I will ensure that it is delineated in a very clear and crisp manner so that your client can prepare with you, his counsel.
Well, all right. So, you know, that's where we are. So what really happened today? A whole lot of nothing is what happened. You know, Michael Patrick Leahy and his attorneys went in there thinking, man, we could be going to the Gray Bar Hotel this afternoon. Now, I mean, I don't think that was going to happen, but with the proceedings to begin, that could happen. The judge is looking for a way now to save face for having issued a stupid call for a show cause hearing. It was dumb because she didn't have her facts right. She was shooting from the hip, She should have stopped for a moment to find out exactly what was going on. Instead, she reacted, I think, emotionally and decided that she was angry about what had happened and that she was going to call this guy on the carpet and maybe send him to jail. Then she found out, well, there's some problems with all that. Number one, it may not be constitutional. Number two, little thing in Tennessee called a shield law would have likely protected Michael Patrick Leahy and others. And I think as she got more information before it came time for the hearing, I think she realized, I don't really want to go down the path of trying to find out whether I'm going to throw a journalist in jail. What I'm really trying to do is find a way to offload this particular case. Remember, she went around the room and asked everybody the question, is the case now moot? Because of the leak. I mean, if it's been leaked, then is there any reason to go forward with this case? And she didn't get the answer she wanted. She got the answer from everybody in the room. No, there's still a lot of information out there. You still need to have a ruling on it, Judge. We need to go forward. So, again, when you see the Tennessee Star headline, the Tennessean headline, they got it right. The judge has backed off. And Deborah Fisher has it right. Much ado about nothing, in my view. Russell Nobile from Judicial Watch, it has it right. Everybody came a little hot. Everybody's cooled down now. So there's where we are on that whole mess. Again, even though our reporting was something that I'm sure the Metro Nashville Police Department did not want to see out there, because we reported a great deal and played sound bites from an interview with the parents of the shooter. Even though that was going on, we're not at all involved in this because we're not litigants in the case. The Daily Wire is not a litigant in the case. Fox 17, as far as I know, is not a litigant in the case. So the judge can only get her claws onto Michael Patrick Leahy, and it seems to me, if I have a good read on this, that she has thought better of that idea. This judge wants off of this case so badly. This judge does not want to have to lay out this ruling. And it was very clear today. Again, everybody in the courtroom, as they left the building, were kind of scratching their head. What was this really all about? And I think what it was the judge looking for some way to get out of this case. We'll see what happens in the days ahead. But for right now, nobody's going to jail. And the case traipses on more than a year after the shooting. 20 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. Grace Point Healthcare is the standard for affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine. How does that work? Well, as a direct pay provider, your health care is delivered without the red tape of insurers' guidelines. Smart Care plans make it even more affordable. Starting at $69 a month, you get free office visits and free basic labs for the entire year. I said the entire year. Grace Point identifies and treats the root causes of every condition, not just the symptoms, utilizing a comprehensive and functional approach. And by usually seeing you the same day or the next day, you're treated at your convenience. Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. As you know, they're located on Main Street in Franklin. Here's the number, 615-599-6868. That's 599-6868 to schedule an appointment.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
An update on that fatal shooting over the weekend at a Michigan water park. A federal judge putting the brakes on a new Biden administration rule that would add gender identity protection to Title IX. And a beloved Tennessee public TV host has passed away. We'll have those stories at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, out here in my neck of the woods in Wilson County, there's a couple of things going on. First of all, Ross Perot Jr. wants to come out here and develop some 1,400 acres of agricultural land and turn it into a massive complex of warehouses, I think 1.3 million square feet of warehouses. And the people out here in Wilson County in the ag areas, they're just dead set against it. They don't like this idea at all. So I got an invitation. Apparently, they're holding a tractor protest parade on Friday right before the Wilson County Planning Commission meeting where this is going to be discussed. And so everybody in this area is going to drive their John Deere tractors or whatever kind of tractor they got. And they're going to go to the Ag Center. And then the sheriff is going to escort them from the Ag Center downtown Lebanon for the big meeting. And apparently they're going to encircle the courthouse with tractors. I can't
That'll
wait.
be something.
8:30 in the morning in downtown Lebanon is going to be, a tractor parade or protest. Everybody's going to be having, they're going to have signs and banners in the whole 9 yards. That's going to be a scene right there. That's going to be, as you say, a good picture. So I think I'll get my Cub Cadet mower and go out there, and I don't have a tractor. Just get in the middle of all those tractors and drive around the courthouse. That'd be fun. Then also in Wilson County, there is this, and this catches my attention. Wilson County commissioners will consider raising the county's wheel tax by $50 to help increase pay for the county's employees at Monday's monthly meeting. If passed, the wheel tax would increase from $25 to $75 effective January 1 of 2025. Now, basically, a wheel tax is a vehicle registration fee. Budget Director Aaron Maynard told the Commission's Budget Committee that increasing the wheel tax would raise about $6 million. At some point, there'll be a need for revenue. You either will not have employees who are qualified or quality of the employees you want. Eventually, you're going to have to continue to retain and attract all these employees. You're going to have to pay them. The county's been working on a new employee pay plan for several months. The county commission understands the economic climate of Wilson County as well as the world, but realizes that it takes public effort and commitment to keep Lebanon and surrounding area of Wilson County economically competitive. So they're trying to raise your vehicle registration fee by $50 to generate $6 million so they can pay. This according to Channel 4's reporting of the matter. I don't know. Look, I guess I do understand the desire to try to keep good employees. I mean, right now, if you can't pay employees, there's somebody else who will. And it's hard. One of the hardest things, I talk to people in business all the time. And right now they tell me that the hardest thing they do is try to keep employees, employed, to stay with them. Because, somebody else will give them 25 cents an hour more, or give them $1 more, or even more, and they move, and they'll go for, okay, I'm going to get a pay raise over here, adios. No loyalty, because they're looking, and honestly, everybody's got to look out for their own best interest. I get that. So, but I can't keep people hired, and I think county employees are not in a situation where, like in a business, you can act a lot quicker. You can raise the price of the product that you sell, and then you can raise the salaries of the people you employ. You can do that pretty quick. Counties can't move that quick because where does their money come from? It comes from taxes. And so they have to go through the process of explaining to people. So I don't know how this is going to go over, but I have a feeling, knowing a lot of my fellow Wilson Countyans, that they're not going to like the idea of the vehicle registration going up $50 from $25 to $75. So it'll be interesting. So, I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff going out here in Wilson County. All kinds of interesting things happening in Wilson County. Tractors surrounding the courthouse, raising the wheel tax. Who knows what's happening next in Wilson County? Well, we'll keep an eye on it. I think I'm going to go down Monday and see. I mean, it's at 8:30 in the morning. I think I'm just going to go down there and watch the tractors. That'll be fun.
Maybe you can convince someone to let you in their hay wagon and you can stand up top and wave.
Yeah. Well, hi, everybody. No. I'm not saying that. Look, I understand their concern. I also understand that that's you look at from the other side of the equation. I can see both sides of it. I really can. The other side of the equation is big business coming in generates tax revenues. The county can grow, and the county is growing one way or the other. It should grow. I think with the infrastructure you need to support it, and the way you do that is you got to have tax money. So it would be a real, be people employed. So there's an upside to it. But I do get what the farmers are saying. This is a special part. Have you ever been out here and just driven through the country? It is just beautiful agricultural land. And I can understand why the farmers who have been invested here many generations want to keep it that way. So a clash of cultures here in Wilson County. 31 past the hour.
Good afternoon. It's 5:31. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've had some clouds move in. It's 92 degrees. We'll get the latest traffic report and a weather forecast to you here in a few minutes. In looking at radar, however, have seen some storms pop up west of the city. Dixon getting a pretty good shower. Also, Pleasant View area, Ashland City. And it looks like it's headed to Clarksville. In Michigan, authorities provided an update today on the 9 people, including 2 children, who were shot at a splash pad water park over the weekend. Dave Packer reports.
Children and their parents enjoying a beautiful day at a suburban Detroit Park splash pad when the shooting began. 9 people hurt, several seriously, including a mother and her 8- and 4-year-old children. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard says the father is devastated.
Reeling would be an understatement. That poor family went through things that no family should ever have to face. You've got a family of 4 and 3 are in the hospital.
The suspect later killed himself. No known motive.
A federal judge granting an injunction against the new Biden administration rule that would add gender identity protection to Title IX. This comes after Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti asked a judge to block new guidelines for the sex-based harassment in the workplace. Tennessee is leading a group of over a dozen, mostly Republican-led states, challenging the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's guidelines. Under the guidelines, an employer could be held liable under Title IX if they don't grant employees access to restrooms consistent with their gender identity. Today, a federal judge blocked those changes from taking effect, pending further legal challenges. And back here in Tennessee, Joe Elmore, the host of Tennessee Crossroads on public TV, he passed away this morning following a long illness. Mr. Elmore was the host of Tennessee Crossroads for 37 years, ever since that program started back in 1987. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Stinky, stinky, stinky. Was that what it was like the last time you were at an auto repair shop? Smelly, greasy old rags lying around, a dirty countertop that you didn't want to touch. Well, another thing that stinks is the repair shops that keep your car forever. They're not honest, so they don't call you back when they say they will. If that was your last experience at a vehicle repair shop, maybe it's time to try something new. Eurofix will take the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. High-pressure sales tactics? No, not here. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment, and you'll never pay dealer prices. Eurofix is now located in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and their newest location, very nice facility in Mount Juliet. Call 844-EUROFIX, that's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEuroFix.com and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
.538 on this, the 17th day of June. I know you're getting home. Try to get home safely, would you? It's right now still at 90 degrees. So, you get home, next few minutes, you still got time to pull weeds.
Oh. There's somewhere else I can go?
Or do something else in the yard. I tell you that. There you go. Here we go. Here we go. Hunter Biden files a motion for a new trial in his federal gun case. And then, as soon as they did, they canceled it just a few moments later. It says here seconds. This is from the New York Post. Hunter Biden's lawyers asked the judge for a new trial following his conviction last week on charges he lied about his drug use when he bought a gun, only to scrap the request minutes later. No explanation, except there's a note now in the docket. It says, motion for a new trial has been deleted at the request of counsel. No explanation for that whatsoever. I think what probably has happened here, if I'm making a guess, and it's just a guess, is that they filed this appeal and then got word that, well, you know what? We're not talking about jail time here. Maybe they sent the word that, we're going to do something, but he's probably not going to spend any time behind bars. And then they said, well, let's just withdraw that then. I could be wrong, but it's just sort of what it feels like to me. Some kind of, back channel negotiation going on between counsel and the prosecutor. And they got some kind of word that maybe what they were thinking about making a recommendation to the judge. Of course, it's up to the judge. Absolutely up to the judge. This is a funny story in some way, given what we've seen of late. With Joe Biden, just walking around like a zombie. We've seen 3 instances of late where he sort of locks into this 1,000-yard stare and just seems to freeze up. Like he's having a senior moment, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know where to go. And all he does is he knows that he's conscious enough to know that there are cameras around and that he needs to do something. So he smiles eerily, but just stands there doing nothing. Completely frozen. It's bizarre. It's really strange. And amid all this, Joe Biden unironically declares Saturday, June 15th, this past Saturday, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Did somebody not think that one through? Because that's exactly what I think when we see him on the world stage being, run through all of these different scenarios, we say, man, that's elder abuse. And no kidding. Biden, age 81, encouraged Americans to improve our nation's prevention of and response to elder abuse, neglect, and exploitation. In the proclamation, Biden wrote, during World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, we recommit to standing with elder abuse survivors, shedding light on this important issue, and creating a world in which no older person has to live in fear of violence, abuse, or neglect. Elder abuse goes against everything we stand for as a nation, and my administration is working relentlessly to stop it. Surely somebody should have said, no, don't send that out. And by the way, when we say he said it, he doesn't say any of this stuff. This is staff stuff. This is coming from the staff. But I'm very worried. I mean, we've had three things here. Let's just go through them. Okay, so the first thing that happened was that Juneteenth celebration last week. It's out on the lawn, and everybody's out there, and they're moving, and they're grooving, because there's music, and Kamala is swaying, and everybody in the crowd is swaying. In the middle of all these swaying people are just really getting down to the funky music that's being laid down there on the lawn of the White House. I don't know who it was, but they were all getting into it. And you look at Joe Biden, and he's just standing there, motionless, stiff as a board, with a goofy-looking grin on his face like, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, and you know, the guy standing next to him tries to engage him, so he try to break him out of it, says something to him, and Biden sort of looks at him and kind of grins and turns back. Again, the 1,000-yard stare. I mean, this is the man who's in charge of our country. Okay, so that was the first one. The second one, he goes to the G7 over in Italy, and you've all seen him wander off in the middle of a photo shoot. They had some people landing in parachutes, and you know what? You know what the folks over at the White House his campaign tried to say? That, I'm not making this up, it's misinformation or deep fake. That what we all saw was not what we all saw. That's bad, when you that's carefully edited stuff to make him look bad. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. So then the third one happened this weekend, where he goes to L.A. George Clooney and Julia Roberts are raising money for him, and all of the hoity-toity people of Hollyweird were there, and they were there, and I think they raised about $30 million for him, $30 million. But there's a moment, and he's out on stage with Jimmy Kimmel, who was the host of the thing, Joe Biden, and Barack Obama. Barack Obama is out there, and it's all come to a conclusion, and the crowd is going wild because, they love these guys. Barack especially. They love Barack. They want to show their support because they hate Trump, and so they're applauding wildly. And again, Biden freezes up on stage, stands there, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. And Barack Obama sees what's going on and literally grabs him by the arm, by the hand almost, grabs him by the wrist, and starts to pull him in the direction of the stage exit to the, stage right, his left. And then Barack puts his arm up on his shoulder like, come on, Grandpa. It's this way. Come on, it's fine. Patting him on the back and saying encouraging things to him on the way over. And Biden is just zombie-like. And I'm not making this up. It really, I'm giving you an accurate description. He looked like he was a zombie.
It's almost like it looks like, I don't know Brian, if you've ever seen this, but like in video games, especially the newer video games where it's the first person sort of, and you're not controlling your player is just standing there waiting for you to move the joystick.
Right.
That's kind of what he looked like. He was waiting for someone to give him an input so that he would move in some direction. He was completely just stiff.
Yeah. Waiting.
Yeah.
Nothing. That's like the lights on, but nobody's home. It's, look, and the sense of it that I have is I'm saddened by this. I'm saddened that we have a leader of the free world who's going through this, and they keep pushing him out there and pushing him out there. We're 10 days away from a debate. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to do the same thing they did to the poor guy at the State of the Union. They're going to pump him up with whatever they pumped him up with. I don't know. I mean, clearly something was going on pharmaceutically there. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what they gave him, but he came out of the barrel and he was angry and he was shouting at everybody. And I don't know what it was, but they'll give him that cocktail again, and he'll go out there and he'll shout at people. But here's the difference: State of the Union, he's on the teleprompter. So if he's somewhat cogent, all he has to do is read off the teleprompter, and he did that fairly well after he was pumped up. But have you seen him lately when he's not pumped up, when he hasn't got that cocktail of whatever it is running through his veins? He talks like this, and he doesn't ever raise his voice, and people can't understand him. He slurs his words, and he just looks pathetic. He looks like a feeble old man. And so I think that given the fact that he's not going to be on teleprompter, he may look vibrant and a little more with it because they're going to have him jacked up on, I don't know, B12 shot. I don't know what else they give somebody. I don't know what you give somebody to get that kind of red, but boy, whatever it was, he really came alive there for about a couple of hours. And whatever it is they do to him, he still has to fly off the cuff, and his brain can't keep up. It just can't. And he's gonna make stupid mistakes. Every time he gets in front of a camera and does an interview right now, they have to spend a couple of days cleaning up on aisle Biden. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like one thing after another that's wrong. Then one day they put out a transcript with 9 corrections on it. They had to correct the president 9 times in one event. He won't have his facts straight. He'll say things that are wrong. He'll tell old geezer stories. I don't know what he's going to do, but I mean, one way or the other, I don't think it's going to go well for him, which is why I think they did one of these debates very early and one of these debates very late. I think they're going to give him one debate, but I tell you what, if this debate does not go well for Joe Biden, I don't know how they're going to stand by him. Because what we're seeing now on the world stage is deeply concerning. I mean, it's been concerning for a while, but every single day it seems to get worse. This is the man who's leading our country. I don't have one bit of confidence that this man could take a 2 a.m. phone call in an emergency and make any sensible decision. And there's some things you just got to have the president's decision on. And I don't think they're going to have it. I think this government is running on autopilot right now without any leadership. And whoever seems to have the best idea at the moment, yeah, let's go with that. But it ain't the president of the United States who's coming up with these ideas. It's staff. I think the Pentagon is running on autopilot. I think the State Department is running on autopilot. And I think that our whole government is running without leadership at the moment. It frightens the you-know-what out of me. It really is. It's sad. So maybe when he did the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, somebody should have said, we're describing our president. Maybe we should do something about that. 50 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. Restoration Wellness and Med Spa. Let me tell you, good people over in Wilson County, Lebanon. Let the Restoration Wellness team help you achieve your summer goals. Listen, call the Restoration Wellness team today at this number. I'm going to give it to you twice, 615-470-8124. Again, 615-470-8124. Or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation. Now, my friends over there, Carly and Jamie, will take good care of you like you're part of the family. And I saw them last Friday, and they are so delightful, so nice. Be a part of the 1,000 patients who've already seen life-changing results from the weight loss management program over at Restoration Wellness and Med Spa. Weight loss can do a lot of good things for you. It brings back your energy levels, improves your quality of sleep, and enhances your overall health. And these are Customized treatment plans, not just a one-size-fits-all option that they take off the shelf for everyone. They consider your unique needs, your lifestyle, and your goals. So whether your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or improve your overall health in other ways, Restoration Wellness has solutions for you. Learn about the newest technologies in weight loss management at restorationwellnessmedspa.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Good evening. It's 1 minute past 6 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've had some clouds move in. It's 91 degrees, the latest traffic report, and a complete weather forecast in 5 minutes. Another hearing taking place today as a part of the ongoing legal process on whether to make the Covenant school shooter's writings public. The show cause hearing came after the Tennessee Star, an online news publication, published stories on the shooter's writings. The publication said they obtained at least 80 pages of the writings from a source close to the investigation. During the hearing today, Davidson County Chancellor Aisha Miles said that she was prepared last week to issue a more than 60-page ruling when she learned that some of the documents had been leaked. The Tennessee Star's editor-in-chief, Michael Patrick Leahy, who is named as possibly being in contempt of the court's order in the case. Naturally, he was in attendance at the hearing today, and he joined WTN's Matt Murphy show today. Leahy was clear that allegations that the Tennessee Star published actual documents in violations of the court's directive are false.
I have not published any documents. None. I've written stories. We've written stories based upon those documents. Now, the allegation that we published documents apparently was made by another media outlet who claimed credit for doing that. Stacey Cameron, who works for WSMV, bragged that it was his call to the judge that prompted her to set up this show cause hearing.
In other news, the White House reacting today to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's decision to disband his war cabinet amid the conflict in Gaza. Jay O'Brien with ABC News has more.
Israel's war cabinet was formed 5 days after the beginning of the Israel-Hamas war and included top officials and the leader of Netanyahu's political opposition, Benny Gantz. But Gantz left, citing deep disagreements with the prime minister. ABC's Mary Bruce pressed National Security Council spokesman John Kirby on if disbanding the war cabinet now gives hawkish voices in Israel more power.
Really up to the prime minister to decide. With Mr. Gantz's decision to leave, I'm not sure that Prime Minister Netanyahu was left with a whole lot of other choices.
A federal judge granting an injunction against a new Biden administration rule that would add gender identity protection to Title IX. This comes after Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti asked a judge to block new guidelines for sex-based harassment in the workplace. Tennessee is leading a group of over a dozen, mostly Republican-leaning states challenging the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's guidelines. Under the guidelines, an employer could be held liable under Title IX if they don't grant employees access to restrooms consistent with their gender identity. Today, a federal judge blocking those changes from taking effect, pending further legal challenges. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather, they are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good afternoon, good evening. It's 7 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock, and it's still pretty steamy out there, still 89 degrees. It just took a nice little walk outside during the break, and it's still like a wave of humidity hits you when you walk in the door. Walk out the door. When you walk in the door, it's like, whew, thank goodness.
Not going back out there.
Yeah, well, not if I don't have to. We're so glad you're with us here this evening. Look, I was just talking about this stuff, about Barack Obama grabbing Grandpa by the wrist. And I mean, I don't know how in the world you can deny what we all saw. But I mean, at the White House, they're saying, hey, no matter what you thought you saw at the G7, that's not what you saw. I mean, these videos are deep fakes, or as Karine Jean-Pierre calls them, they're cheap fakes. They're not. They're unedited videos. There's nothing about this that's fake. I can't even believe that they're trying to pull that one on us. But boy, they are doubling down today that you can't believe your own eyes. The things that you think you saw, you didn't see.
Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And
he wasn't frozen. He wasn't wandering away. He was thanking the troops, completely oblivious to what was going on with the other members of the G7. He was just thanking troops. That's, what's wrong with you people?
And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. Instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos. And it is, again, done in bad faith.
On the video you were talking about. Yeah. There were two instances in recent days where leaders, former President Obama and Georgia Maloney of Italy, they physically put hands on the president to guide him and show him, give stage directions. Are they doing that on their own, or has anybody asked them to run the show like that?
First of all, let me spoke to the most recent, right? And as we saw on Saturday, President Obama's office put out a statement. So I would refer you to that statement about what was being accused in those by others. And he said this did not happen in the sense of what people were saying they were seeing, right? Or what was being falsely reported that they were seeing. Let's not forget, President Obama, President Biden have a relationship. They are friends. They're like family to each other. And I think that's what you saw. You saw the president put his hand on the back of President Biden, and they walked off the stage after taking questions or at an event taking questions from Jimmy Kimmel. That is what you saw. But I would refer you to President Obama's office statement. They talked about this, they discussed this, and they came out with it pretty quickly.
She's stuttering and stammering around an awful lot, isn't she? And you can tell when she gets frustrated because she bangs the table when she's making her point. She's banging the table. And I don't know, but I got to tell you, look, don't believe what you saw with your own eyes, because those are deep fakes, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody's out there trying to mislead you. There was no doubt about what you saw with Obama. Obama looked over and he saw that Joe Biden was just standing there with that 1,000-yard stare, not knowing what to do. He reached over and he didn't say, hey, Joe, come on, let's go. Let's get out of here. He reached over and grabbed him by the arm, by the wrist, and sort of tugged him in the direction, and then put his arm around him to sort of, usher him off stage. For Obama, who's pretty good with stagecraft and knows how to, what to do at those kind of moments, he's pretty quick on the draw with that kind of stuff. It was an awkward moment. He didn't know what to do, but he knew he had to get that guy off the stage, and he had to do something quick. So he literally sort of like tugged at his sleeve, grabbed his wrist, and pulled him away. It was, there's no doubt about what we saw, but, now we're being told you can't trust what you see with your own eyes. They're friends, yeah. And I think if that's true, and I'm not sure that it's true, but if it is true, then Obama sees his friend in trouble and steps over and tries to do what would be the compassionate thing, help the man get off the stage. And now they're trying to say you didn't see what you thought you saw. In other 2020 news, the folks at The Economist have done they didn't do a poll. They looked at polls. They do their analysis of where the candidates are doing well, where they're not doing well. And as you know, really the whole thing is to get to 270 electoral college votes. And so they do a prognosis, a sort of a projection of where they think the election will be. And they give actual odds here. This is from The Economist. Okay, look, when your friend and radio buddy tries to crunch numbers for you, always be suspicious, because I don't do numbers very well at all. But, The Economist, that's what they do. They crunch numbers. They say that the way things look today, Donald Trump has about a 3 in 4 chance of winning, a 75% chance of winning, and Joe Biden is somewhere around a 25% chance. They say that it's entirely possible that when it's all said and done, Donald Trump will rack up 306 electoral college votes, and Joe Biden will end up about 232. Our model is updated every day and combines state and national polls with economic indicators to predict the election results across the country. And they got a graph where it shows how things are going. And quite frankly, that graph has parted ways. It was sort of parallel there for a while. But in the last, since about, between about middle of May and the 1st of June, things started to go south for the Democrats and north for Trump. And they've done all kinds of interesting analysis. I think it's pretty interesting. By the way, if you want to link to any of these stories, you can find them at yourfarb.com. But a 75% chance that he will prevail and become reelected. I want to share with you some sound bites that I have here about black voters, because black voters are now leaving the Democrat fold in a way that they have not done before. And it's really quite amazing. I'm trying to find, here it is. This is the good one. This is Harry Enton. Harry Enton crunches numbers over at CNN. I watch so you don't have to. And Harry Enton, I think, is he's pretty good at this. He gets excited about numbers. And the thing, he can't believe what he's seeing with regard to black voters who are leaving the Democrat Party and are moving toward Trump. He does a whole thing on it. Listen up.
So where does the race stand among African-American voters right now?
Yeah, I keep looking for this to change, to go back to a historical norm, and it simply put has not yet. In 2020, Joe Biden was getting 86% of the African-American vote. Look at where it is now. It's 70%. That's a 16-point drop, John. And more than that, it's not just that Joe Biden is losing ground, it's that Donald Trump is gaining ground. You go from 7%, single digits at this point in 2020, to now 21%. And again, John, I keep looking for signs that this is going to go back to normal, and I don't see it yet in the polling. If anything, right now we're careening towards a historic performance for Republican presidential candidate, the likes of which we have not seen in 6 decades. So I decided to dive deeper into the crosstabs, figure out where is it that Joe Biden is truly struggling among black voters. Look at black voters under the age of 50. Holy cow, folks. Holy cow. Look at this. Joe Biden was up by 80 points among this group back at this point in 2020. Look at where that margin has careened down towards. It's now just, get this, 37 points. That lead has dropped by more than half, Mr. Berman. I just never seen anything like this. I'm like speechless. If this polling is anywhere near correct, we are looking at a historic moment right now where black voters under the age of 50, which have historically been such a big part of the Democratic coalition, are leaving it in droves.
That is a huge drop.
It is a huge drop. And he's like, if it's anywhere even close, then it's a big problem for Joe Biden. I mean, let's talk about where we're seeing in all of this polling data. And really, honestly, just looking at the one number doesn't really give you a lot. You got to dig into the crosstabs, as he says. Look into the deep internals of the poll. But, I mean, okay, where is he live? Well, apparently black voters, young black voters apparently are leaving the Democrat Party and moving toward Trump. They're not falling. They're not going to RFK Jr. They're not going to Wester Stein. They're coming over to Trump. And you know why? I think they remember the economic good that president did for them. Former President Trump was good for them. Black unemployment was at historic lows when he was president, and the economy was strong, and people were making money. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. Biden is losing with Hispanic voters in a big way, and you would think that's not true, but I mean, Hispanic voters are not one-issue voters. They care about the economy. They care deeply. They had prosperous times when Donald Trump was president, and they're struggling now. And they know the difference. And I don't think, quite frankly, a lot of Hispanics who are here legally like what's happening on the border. And young voters are apparently leaving the Democrat Party. That's been a very reliable voting demographic for the Democrats for all these years, and they are trending toward Trump. Now, is Biden going to win in all of those categories? Yeah. Don't get me wrong. He'll pull in more black voters than does Donald Trump. He'll pull in more Hispanic voters than does Donald Trump. He'll pull in more young voters than does Donald Trump. But the bottom line is a great number of those people are bleeding over. And in a close election, you can't afford to lose any of your base. And what I'm seeing here is that Biden is losing his base. Absolutely losing his base. I mean, his spokesman from the campaign was trying to answer questions about why black voters are leaving the Biden campaign.
Over the weekend, the Trump campaign launched a Black Americans for Trump coalition. Your campaign mocked it and said it's not fooling anyone. But look at this. USA Today Suffolk polls show from Michigan and Pennsylvania specifically, these are two key swing states. They show President Biden has lost roughly 20 points among black voters in both of those states, down from 76% to the mid-50s. Of course, in a close election, that can make a huge difference. Why do you think the president is losing support with these voters?
Well, listen, this campaign is going to do very good amongst black voters because no administration has done more for black America than the Biden-Harris administration.
But why is he losing support right now?
Well, listen, this is what the campaign is for. We have to remind people of exactly where we have come from and where we are going. That's why we're running ads consistently. That's why we're reminding people of the things that this administration has done for black America.
Well, he's not saying that she's wrong. They're just saying, we'll get them back. Don't worry. Okay. There you go. Oh, I got more. We'll continue right after this break, 20 past the hour now. Busy bee, when you need heat or cold AC or you need something done with your plumbing, you know the number, 615-775-7833. They'll come buzzing over to your house, and they will buzz around your beehive and get everything going. Get your air conditioner going and lickety-split. And they got some specials right now with regard to air conditioning. How about this? If you need air conditioning repaired right now, they will waive the $89 dispatch fee if you have some repair work done. They're offering 10% off all indoor air quality products. If you want to do some plumbing, how about this? $500 off select tankless water heaters. $500 off upright Essency water heaters. 15% off a whole home drain repipe. Repair plumbing service, how about a $99 drain video inspection where they'll run a camera down inside your drain, see what's causing things not to flow properly. And a water heater flush for only $79. And they've got great if you need a big project done and you're saying, man, I don't know how I'm going to do it, HVAC project, they'll give you 12 months, no interest, no payments with approved credit, up to 15 months on plumbing projects. So what have you got to lose here? Give them a call, 615-775-7833. Busy Bee, HVAC and Plumbing. Here's their address. Go look them up. It's busybhvac.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
A suspect still being sought in Middle Tennessee after a fatal hit-and-run accident yesterday. More blasting around the Nashville airport, so get ready for that. And we'll have today's closing money news. That all comes up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 26 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air all the way till 7 o'clock. Then we headed over to Mark Levin. Okay, now look, I'm looking at my 270 to win map. All right, so let me just say this. I don't know how in the world you can say that North Carolina right now is a toss-up state, because Trump has led there by 5 points for some time now. Georgia, he's doing well. Arizona, Nevada, he's doing well. So let's put those in the lean Republican column now, okay? And if we do that, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, then Trump stands at 268 and Biden's at 203. What remains on the map? Here's why I look at it. You got Virginia. Yes, in Virginia, it's a battleground state. I don't care. A lot of places don't call it that, but when the polls are tied, it's a battleground state. Virginia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and now Minnesota. Minnesota, don't you know? Okay, here's a number from Minnesota. They talked, the McLaughlin group talked to 600 likely voters. In a 5-way race, they have Trump winning by 4. In a 6-way race, it would be Trump winning by 5. In a 2-way race, it would be Trump winning by 2. So if he wins Minnesota, 278. Okay, let's put that back in the neutral territory. What if he wins Wisconsin? 278. Let's put that back in the neutral territory and move on. Here we go. What about Michigan? 283. All right, put that back in the neutral territory. What if he wins Pennsylvania? 287. See, well over what he needs. So we'll mark that one out. And what about Virginia? 281. So any of those 4 states, if he wins any of those 4 states, which are true battleground states, he needs to win 1 out of 4. I mean, when you do the Electoral College math, again, things can change. But right now, it's consistently been pretty reliable that Trump is up in these states. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, you can't believe the numbers, and I understand why you don't. Because the numbers have sometimes been wrong, and sometimes I don't think the numbers have been wrong. I just think that they were not very good at predicting the end of the game. Anytime you run a poll, you're always going to find a certain number of people who are undecided. And there's a certain amount of people who will lie to you about polls. But that generally works in the favor of Donald Trump. A lot of people don't want to tell a pollster that they're going to vote for Trump. But they end up doing it. That generally works, you would think, to Donald Trump's advantage. One way or the other, as it stands right now, with 5 battleground states. He's got to win 1 of the 5. Everything else is looking pretty good right now. What else is the Biden administration going to do? What do they got in their pockets? Well, they're about to dip into the strategic oil reserve again because they're worried about the impact that high gasoline prices would have on the economy, and that would hurt them at the polls. So they're going to, even though they shouldn't, they really shouldn't, because the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is supposed to be there for a reason. It's supposed to be there to help us in times of national emergency. Well, I mean, we're not even through hurricane season yet, and that's where it's come in handy a lot, because you know what happens during hurricane season? You get a big hurricane out in the Gulf of Mexico, they shut down all the oil platforms. Sometimes one will come ashore and knock out all the refineries, and you need oil because it's not coming in from the Gulf for a while they go out there and do repairs. So, you know, that's what the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is for. But they've already drained half of it off. And now they're going to drain it some more to keep gas prices low so that they can, you know, they don't have to face higher gas prices. And there's an extra benefit there. Keep gas prices low, you keep inflation low. Keep inflation low, the Fed can then make an argument to cut interest rates sooner rather than later. Right now, it looks like we're headed for 1 cut after the elections. The Biden administration would love to move that up. How do we do that? Cheaper gas prices would help. See? You can't play checkers with these people because they're playing chess. We'll talk more. We got a lot more ground to cover here. Right now, it's time for the news with Jay Harper.
Good evening. It's 6:31, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got some clouds, 90 degrees now. A complete forecast and traffic are on the way. The search continuing for a fatal hit-and-run suspect. Last night, right around 8 o'clock on Peachers Mill Road in Clarksville, the driver of a car died after it struck a utility pole. Witnesses said a red Ford Fusion was involved in that crash but sped away. That car may have damage to the rear section, and police are asking anyone who thinks they see that vehicle to please contact them. Blasting operations resuming this week at Nashville International Airport. Through this Friday, June 21st, the scheduled blast will briefly halt traffic along Donaldson Pike every afternoon. At around 1 o'clock, the blasts are happening at 6 different zones around the airport, eventually allowing the airport to expand. Let's turn now to our closing money news with Dave Packer.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now. Stocks rose to more record highs at the start of a holiday-shortened week. Markets will be closed Wednesday for the Juneteenth holiday. The Dow Jones Industrial rose 189 points. The Nasdaq Composite was 168 points higher, its 6th consecutive record close. The broader S&P gained 42, its 30th record close this year. The IRS is putting the squeeze on the top 1% of taxpayers. The tax agency plans to end major tax loopholes that could raise more than $50 billion in a decade. Deputy Treasury Secretary Wally Adeyemo said today that the process by which a business or person can enter into a series of transactions to avoid taxes was just a shell game. The struggling video game retailer GameStop stock is down after the company's CEO today told a shareholder meeting that costs need to be cut to provide long-term profitability. The University of Utah Drug Information Service says drug shortages are on the rise.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather there next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
All right, I got a question for you. Have you ever thought about adding precious metals to your portfolio? How many times have you heard someone describe something as the gold standard? Well, it comes to finding an investment that protects you from runaway inflation. Gold is the gold standard. It's a tried and true store of value, consistent across generations. Maybe you've thought about adding gold or other precious metals to your portfolio, but you feel like, well, I don't really have the knowledge I need to make a smart decision. That's the way I felt, but I got the professional guidance I needed at Nashville Gold & Coin. Here's the way it works. You make an appointment. You sit down one-on-one with my friends at Nashville Gold & Coin. They'll answer your questions and help you make the precious metals investment that's right for you. It's friendly. You will learn a lot. You will never be subjected to high-pressure sales pitches. Gold and silver can be a safe haven in uncertain economic times, and my friends at Nashville Gold & Coin are standing by to answer all your questions about the precious metals market. And if you have some old coins laying around, bring them along, because you know what? You might be surprised just how much they're worth. To set up that one-on-one appointment, just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
"39 minutes now past the hour. We're in the last throes of our program. We're getting ready to hand it over to Mark Levin, the great one, here a little bit later. He'll carry on through the evening, as he always does. CNN has laid out the final rules for the Trump versus Biden debate. That's 10 days from now. Boy, that's going to be quite a thing. And it's going to be fun to watch, because I'm always wondering which Biden's going to show up. The guy with the 1,000-yard stare who barely can, put words together, or that guy we saw on the State of the Union, where he's jacked up on something. I mean, I don't know what they did. I guess they gave him like a B12 shot and a double dose of Prevagen and a 5-hour energy drink, couple of Red Bulls. I don't know. I don't know what they did to him, but he was angry, wasn't he? He was angry. He was shouting. So if he shows up, it's going to be interesting. But, here's the thing about this debate. I'll say it again. On the State of the Union, they jack him up with whatever cocktail they gave him, because, it's palpable, the difference between, you can tell it, the difference between him on a given day where he's shuffling around the White House and that night. They gave, I don't know what they gave him, but they gave him something. And something stronger than a good stout cup of coffee and a kick in the pants. They gave him something. So if that guy shows up, he's going to be angry and he's going to be irritable, and he's going to be not having the ability to look at a teleprompter. If he shows up and he muffs all the facts like he normally does, I'm not sure that it's going to vote very well. I mean, because the next day the story's going to be, how many mistakes did Biden make? And then, you'll see him the next day and he won't be all angry. He'll be that same old guy with the 1,000-yard stare. I mean, something. It's like we're watching the man deteriorate before our very eyes. It's so sad. I mean, it is sad. I don't take any glee in telling you these things, and I'm not telling you anything you can't see for yourself. Biden has been warning big time that you better watch out, because those Republicans, if you don't reelect me, those Republicans are going to appoint 2 Supreme Court justices. Well, first of all, I'll bet you $1 to a donut that at the end of June, Sotomayor turns in her resignation. She'll step down. So they'll push somebody through to replace Sotomayor. It may well be, I think the elegant solution here for them, and there's nothing that's really truly elegant, but here's the elegant solution. Number one, Kamala is a problem. But if you give Kamala a chance to sit on the high court, lifetime appointment to be on the high court, that's not nothing. And you say, I want her to go. I want a black woman on the court. I want Kamala Harris to be on the high court. Look, I'm not crazy about Kamala Harris being on the high court, but it doesn't change the mix of the Supreme Court. It would still be 6-3. We'd be replacing a liberal with a liberal. All right, so there's that. So, that one way or the other, Sotomayor gets replaced, I'm pretty sure, at the end of this month. They'll start that process. And because the Democrats control the Senate, they'll shove that through. On a party line vote, they'll shove it through. So there's that. So the second one, who else is out there? A lot of people talk about Clarence Thomas. He's getting up there in age. He's been there for a while. If let's say Biden were to be reelected, and you had Clarence Thomas deciding he was going to step down, he couldn't go any further, then, yeah, they would pick up a seat. It'd go back to 5-4. But we would still have a majority. And I don't think Biden's going to win. I think what will happen here is they'll replace Sotomayor, then President Trump wins, and then you might have Clarence Thomas step down and get him replaced by somebody else, but it would be a conservative that would maintain the 6-3 majority that we have right now. So a lot of noise is going to be made. They're going to cry, they're going to have a 7-2 court. That's what they're trying to make you think. But not if Sotomayor steps down, and if she doesn't, then it's on them. It's their mistake. Not talking her out of stepping down. And she knows. They saw what happened to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's how they ended up with a 6-3 court. They saw that. And they don't want that to happen again. And Sotomayor will not let it happen again. And I think she's ready to walk away anyhow. Here is an interesting story that has to do with the whole situation with regard to the border. And I'm going to read a lot of this because I think you will care deeply about this. The question is, how do non-citizens get voter registration forms across the United States? And how are Republicans trying to stop it? This is from the New York Post. You ready? Welfare offices and other agencies in 49 states are providing voter registration forms to migrants without requiring proof of citizenship, leading Republicans and conservatives to call for swift federal action to stop the handouts. But every state but Arizona, which recently passed a law barring the practice on state but not federal forms, give applicants for either welfare benefits, driver's licenses, or in some case mail-in ballot voter registration forms without demanding proof of citizenship. There is currently no requirement on federal voting forms to provide proof of U.S. citizenship, though it is illegal to falsely claim one as a citizen or for a non-resident to cast a ballot in a federal election. Well, they've already broken the law. They broke the law the moment they came across. Right? But millions of migrants with humanitarian parole, refugee, or asylum status are eligible for benefits that would bring them into the welfare office where voter registration can take place. The National Voter Registration Act of 1993 ordered states to register voters at the Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, and agencies where Americans apply for public benefits. And those offices are required by federal law to hand over the registration forms along with the application papers. If an applicant attests that they are a U.S. citizen, all they got to do is say, are you a U.S. citizen? Yep. That's all they got to do. They can't ask for any documents. And they will get registered to vote. The House Administration Committee last month approved the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility SAVE Act to require states to receive proof of citizenship when anyone registers to vote by mail at a DMV or a welfare agency office. While Biden and radical progressive Democrats give ISIS and criminals an app to literally schedule their illegal entry, Republicans must fight any chance of illegal voter registration until we can mass deport, says Representative Chip Roy of Texas. As President Biden has welcomed millions of illegal aliens through our borders, including sophisticated criminal syndicates and foreign adversaries, it's incumbent upon Congress to implement greater enforcement measures that secure the voter registration process and ensure that only American citizens decide the outcome of elections, says House Speaker Mike Johnson. It's undeniable that the current structure makes it possible for illegal immigrants and non-citizens to vote, and the American people have no way of knowing how widespread the problem may be, says Ryan Walker, Executive Vice President of the conservative Heritage Foundation's sister group, Heritage Action. The SAVE Act puts all of these issues to rest and give Americans confidence that our elections are decided on a more even playing field, but it's never going to pass. It'll never get through the Democrat-controlled Senate. House Republican leaders have yet to schedule a floor vote for the measure, though one Hill source suggested to the Post it could come up before the August recess. But what happens in the Senate? No need. They're not going to take it up, and if they do, they'll defeat it. So there it is. You go to the welfare office. You can get a form to fill out for voter registration. They just give you a packet, and the packet, it's in there. You fill it out, and you say that you're an American citizen. They're not going to ask you for any documents, right? You go to get your driver's license, even though you're illegal in this country, you get your driver's license, and they ask you the question, are you here legally in the country? Are you a U.S. citizen? And if you say yes, they're going to give you the document, and you're going to get registered to vote. They're going to give you a little star on your driver's license that says you're a U.S. citizen. I mean, oh my gosh. Hans von Spakovsky, who we've had on this show before, former member of the FEC, and he's over at the Heritage Foundation now, says it's a real problem, not an imaginary problem. The numbers are not enough to change election results, even in critical states like Pennsylvania, but they are enough to cause consternation as a record-breaking number of migrants have entered the U.S. every year since 2021. The figure is expected to rise to 8 million by October of this year. At the same time, the Biden administration has expanded access to health care and other benefits, such as Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the SNAP program, putting many migrants within reach of voter registration. At least 19 states and Washington, D.C. also allow non-citizens to obtain driver's license, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, a move that Biden supported during his 2020 presidential campaign. The good news is most of those are already blue states. There's at least that. That's why you see Hans say it probably won't change the election because blue states are going to be blue anyway. But I'm telling you, Arizona, there's one to watch. It is now 50 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, USS, the same company you've trusted for 30 years in your crawl space, is now offering mold treatment and giving you a good deal on any kind of mold growth solution. $500 off now through the end of the month. TikTok, you got to get it before the end of the month. Yes, the most trusted and most experienced crawl space repair company in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky is now somebody who can solve your mold problems down in your basement. You got mold in your basement, you got mold in your crawl space. Not good. The air there, the spores from that mold, they get into your house, you breathe them, it's not healthy. You need to turn your crawl space into a healthy space with USS's three-step RTE process. That's right, remove, treat, and encapsulate. And right now, anytime you do that, you'll get $500 off the cost of that whole process. Don't wait. Humidity is rising. You know it is. You've been outside today. So call now and get $500 off the USS Mold Treatment RTE solution. USS is here to help you for your foundation, your waterproofing, and your mold problems. USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Here's the number, 615-488-7855.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.